Okay. Let's try this again.
Yeah, we're going to try again. Do we need to reshare the link?
We maybe should. So while people trickle in, let's do that. Copy. Put it into the old Twitter machine. Good gravy. We've never had this happen before. It's a dirty shame it had to happen for the last one. But that's how it works, right? That's oh, technology. You're wonderful when you work right, and then when you don't, that's just the way that is. Let's see. Okay,
all right.
We're doing that. Off again. Okay, back to it. We got a couple people here. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. We'll just rely on the good old internal mic today. That's the way that'll be. It's pretty quiet in our neighborhood. We shouldn't hear too much. And as long as there's no buzzing, because I have heard the feedback on that before, that's a no-go. Okay, so no silence sounds. I think we're okay. Right. What were we talking about before we got...
we really didn't even get anywhere. So we can start with this idea of we want to hear from you.
Yes. Thank you for following us over. We do want to hear your comments. If you have any questions or comments about the show, questions for us, anything at all, by all means, put it in the chat.
Yeah. So what do you say we start by talking about season 5?
Let's do season 5. Let's give it its due because we did that with all the other seasons.
Yes.
Okay. So overall impressions as the first timer, what did you think of the season?
So you could definitely tell season 5 was an add-on. I think we've mentioned this before.
You did.
You can tell it's an add-on. You can tell it wasn't really planned this way. And I think we've talked about it a couple times on the show about Lockley was really underdeveloped until like the last few episodes. And
Sorely.
We needed to see more from a new captain sooner.
I agree. I totally agree with that. We really didn't get to know her. And I remember first time around, there was just a general dislike for her because it was like, oh, this is Ivanova 2.0. We aren't having it.
No. Yeah, I really felt like she could have been a really interesting, strong character, but we got her like the first episode and then she was gone for the second and then she was there and gone and like the absent captain. And
right.
That was frustrating, but I mean, it all came together at the end. And so even though you had those frustrations at the beginning and I feel like the first probably 7 or 8 episodes could probably be a little bit stronger. The last 5, 6 episodes really did a nice job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in terms of, well, not just Lockley, though.
No.
Even though we did get the fantastic scene between her and Garibaldi, a little bit more about her past. We knew that she had some rough times with her friend Zoe via Day of the Dead.
Sure.
But then we realized, oh, so this is kind of where she's coming from. That's why these two are constantly like this. They're too much alike. Yeah. And if we would have just had more of that, oh man, can you imagine just how good of a character Lockley could have been? Now, I get it. There's logistics behind the scenes. There's the money issue. There's the time issue. You've got so many other principal characters already in this series. It makes it tough to do anything with a brand new character in the last season of any show. And we see that a lot. You know, you watch enough TV, you see how this is going to go. Yes. Even on Babylon 5, she did get just a little shortchanged. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think it was and we have a comment here from Kurt about you can tell it's much more seat of the pants. And I think if it were maybe any other show, it would be a little bit more understandable because a lot of other shows are flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
You don't know where the season's going to end when you start writing the season, which I've seen that before, not just in sci-fi. Yeah. But
I said it.
The Office season 8. I mean, there's a whole lot of that can happen in a show that knows it's on its way out. And I still think it was a good season. I still think it's worth it. I still think it's like the comparison I just made to The Office we watch seasons 1 through 7 and 9 of The Office.
It's true, we do. We don't even have the DVDs for season 8
Mm.
because my general thought is season 9 is just a repeat of the high and low points of, like in season 9, they redo it. They redo season 8, and
Yeah.
they do it a little bit better. There's a little more emotion to it, and so why even bother?
Yeah, so with Babylon 5, though, getting back to that,
Yes.
season 5 is part of the pantheon, right? It's part of the story.
Definitely.
And you can't just stop at season 4. And so in that way, I'm really glad that season 5 is there, that it exists, that it was created and became
We had it.
part of it. Yeah, I think it's I said it in one of the episodes, I don't remember which one, but it's part of the epilogue, right? It's like an extended epilogue, and I like epilogues. So
it's falling action. And of course, we all know the story, right? Where season 4, they were planning on wrapping it up. They'd even shot Sleeping in Light. And then at the 11th hour, TNT came in and said, okay, we're going to do season 5. We're going to do TV movies. We're going to do all sorts of cool Babylon 5 stuff. And then there was I'm so glad somebody mentioned in the comments, there was a bunch of notes taken out of JMS's hotel room during a convention in England. And he lost a lot of the material that he had set up while he was trying to reconstruct what am I going to do for season 5 now that I know I'm getting it. Because if I'm recalling correctly, they had just announced, yes, they were getting a season 5, much to everybody's surprise and delight.
wow.
Yes. I also love Legionnaire Linoti. I'm not sure how you say that. The comment about more Lockley, less Byron would have been welcome. I kind of agree. The Byron arc is not the strongest part of anything. No. I think a lot of us don't really care for Byron very much.
Byron was, has anyone mentioned this maybe before, that Byron was not very well developed? Like,
oh, I'm sure somebody said that, sure.
You know, he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of, right? Where it was trying to do this the right way, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's set ourselves on fire.
He just, becomes unhinged.
Yeah, and the unhinged part, maybe it was just a straw that broke the camel's back, but I felt like there could have been stronger development of him going from peaceful, let's find a place to live, to unhinged psycho. There could have been a better transition to that, other than just being told no, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have done it different. I'm not saying I could have done it better myself, but
yeah. I do think that is a part of season 5 being much more rushed, where JMS had his whole plan. He had so much development and time put into characters like Londo and Jakar, and by comparison, of course, Byron is going to look weak.
Yeah. And to go back to a point that just was brought up in the chat, that he was a martyr. There were definitely martyr vibes all over that.
Almost from the very beginning, too. Like, he had the big picture idea of what he wanted and no idea how to get there. Mm-hmm. Sort of like when Londo says to Morden, I want my people to go back to when they were fantastic and when things were good, with no real consideration of what it might take to get to that end. Didn't care about that part, and then we all saw what happened.
Yes.
The logistics and the legwork are really important to make big things happen.
Yeah.
I think that's one big takeaway that we can take from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that there were, I don't know. Okay, I want to move on from Byron. I think
you do?
Yeah, Byron, he was
okay, I do want to address one little thing from Commander Thud Pucker. I love that name. I do not know for sure if Byron is addressed more in the books. I still have yet to read them all, so that's possible. I'm sure somebody else knows in the comments.
You haven't read the books? Oh, no.
I know. I just lost some nerd cred. I'm sorry.
So the other thing I wanted to get into was the other storyline that I thought was really, really compelling in season 5 was Garibaldi's downfall and redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought that was for me one of the most valuable things of season 5 was watching Garibaldi struggle and kind of get himself back on the right track. He went through some things. The story, this is one of those stories that could become very cliched, very hackneyed, and the way they handled it in season 1, drunk again, Uncle Mike, like...
You really, remember that?
I remember the thumbnail. right?
Aye, look at you.
Right. The way they handled that in season 1 felt very kind of ham-handed and like kind of a throwaway to set up his backstory.
Mhm.
When they actually had him go through it in season 5, I thought it was a lot stronger.
Oh, certainly. Certainly.
And a lot more, like, had a lot more, as we said all along, throughout season 5, where was Lise?
I need to go back and make a count of how many times you said that, because I'm pretty sure it was one episode or once an episode until she actually did show up.
Right. Okay, so,
and you were right. You were absolutely right. Somebody in the comments way back said, wanted to know from you, what did you think about some of your goofy predictions? And
yes.
How do you feel about them now?
Yeah, and I'm taking notes right now because I don't want to lose these questions.
Cool.
That are like series wide questions.
Yeah.
Because I want to wrap up season 5 before
and
we
then
start
do
talking
overall
season wide. Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Structure.
Series wide. Yeah.
Someone likes to organize a lot.
Yeah, I do.
You do. You're a good planner.
So keep asking those questions. I'm going to make notes, and so I don't forget them. So thank you for bringing those up.
Good call.
But yeah, other season 5 things. I feel like those were the big ones, and of course, like the last few episodes,
the finales.
The finales. One of the things I liked about the finales was everyone got their moment. Every main character, every secondary character, almost except for maybe Zach Allen, got their moment.
I mean, he kind of did though. Like he did get
a little bit.
He did kind of just come into his own. Like by the time we leave him, we know that he's got this right as the chief of security.
Right. Yeah, and so it was nice to have everyone have their moment. Everyone gets either to leave or to do their thing. Like everyone has their story resolved. And I think if you were to end it at the end of season 4, you don't get that. You don't get that kind of satisfaction of seeing everyone's stories resolved.
It's true. Then you just make that jump to Sleeping in Light, where 20 years in the future, here's where everybody landed, and then there we go. Mm-hmm. So season 5, I did ask in a Babble, necessary, like would you have preferred that they just had gone from season 4 to Sleeping in Light, or is season 5 just the way that it builds up to the very end, is that better?
I think season 5, the second one that you said.
That one? Okay.
The second one, where having season 5, like this is the hill I'm gonna die on. Babble on 5 fans. Season 5 was even though some of the stories were a little bit out there and maybe some of the storylines didn't work the way that maybe I would have liked, it still, it fulfills a spot and does its job, I think, pretty well. So
yeah.
I still liked him for the first couple 3 seasons, and then this whole Delenn obsession started to be a plot point.
Yeah.
And it got a little disturbed. I said this, I think it was one of the last shows, maybe the last one, second to last one. Lanier